A Himalayan impasse setting the stage. The India-China border dispute involves overlapping territorial claims along the line of actual control, a loosely demarcated border stretching over 3,488 kilometers. This dispute has led to several confrontations and a brief war in 1962. In recent years, the situation escalated dramatically in 2020. Chinese troop movements along the LAC and Ladakh triggered a prolonged standoff, pushing both nuclear-armed neighbors to the brink of war. Understanding this standoff necessitates exploring the perspectives of both India and China. The outcome of this dispute will have ramifications far beyond the Himalayas, impacting the balance of power in Asia and beyond. Ladakh Standoff. The Flashpoint Ignites. In April 2020, tensions between India and China escalated dramatically in the Ladakh region. The trigger was the significant forward movement of Chinese troops towards the LAC, violating the long-standing status quo. India responded swiftly, deploying additional troops to the region to counter the Chinese moves. Both sides engaged in a series of face-offs, with soldiers stationed just meters apart in some of the most inhospitable terrain on Earth. The standoff was unprecedented in its scale and intensity since the 1962 war. It shattered the fragile peace that had been maintained for decades, raising concerns about the potential for a wider conflict. The global community watched nervously as the two Asian giants locked horns, their actions having far-reaching consequences for regional stability. The Ladakh standoff marked a turning point in India-China relations. Phases of discord, from crisis to disengagement. The India-China standoff, stretching from 2020 to 2024, can be broadly categorized into three distinct phases. The initial phase, from April 2020 to September 2020, was characterized by crisis management. This involved intense military posturing, diplomatic scrambling, and a tragic clash in Galwan Valley in June 2020, resulting in casualties on both sides. The second phase, from September 2020 to September 2022, witnessed a series of negotiations and partial disengagement at some friction points along the LAC. Both sides engaged in multiple rounds of military and diplomatic talks, seeking a way out of the impasse. However, the third phase, from September 2022 to December 2024, was marked by divergent positions and renewed tensions. Despite the persisting challenges, relentless diplomatic efforts finally yielded a breakthrough in October 2024. By December 2024, full disengagement was declared, marking the end of a tense chapter in bilateral relations. Section 4, Roots of Contention, China and India's Perspectives. To fully comprehend the complexities of the India-China border standoff, it is crucial to analyze the motivations and perspectives of both nations. China, viewing itself as a rising global power, has become increasingly assertive in its foreign policy, particularly in its immediate neighborhood. Its actions in Ladakh are seen as part of this broader assertiveness, driven by a desire to secure its perceived territorial integrity and strategic interests. China has expressed concerns about India's infrastructure development along the border, viewing it as a threat to its security. India, on the other hand, maintains that its infrastructure development is essential for national security and the socio-economic development of its border regions. It argues that it is well within its rights to develop its own territory and denies any intention to contain China. India's perspective is also shaped by its historical experience with China, particularly the 1962 war, which has left a legacy of mistrust. The standoff reflects the clash of these competing narratives and anxieties. Section 5. A Legacy of Mistrust. Historical context of the border dispute. The India-China border dispute is not a recent phenomenon but a legacy of history, dating back to the colonial era. The poorly defined border, a product of historical agreements and shifting territorial claims, has been a source of tension and conflict for decades. The 1962 war, a humiliating defeat for India, cast a long shadow on bilateral relations, deepening mistrust and suspicion. Following the 1962 war, there were decades of diplomatic stalemate, with both sides unable to find a mutually acceptable solution to the border dispute. While relations improved somewhat in the 1990s with increased trade and cultural exchanges, the underlying border issue remained unresolved. The line of actual control, without a mutually agreed-upon demarcation, became the flashpoint for numerous standoffs and military buildups. The lack of clarity over the line of actual control has led to differing perceptions of where the border lies, resulting in frequent transgressions and accusations of incursions. The historical context is crucial to understanding the current dynamics of the India-China relationship. Section 6. Charting a way forward, dialogue and confidence building. The disengagement agreement reached in 2024, while a significant achievement, is just one step towards a long and arduous journey. The underlying border dispute remains unresolved, and the potential for future tensions cannot be ignored. To prevent future conflicts and build a more stable relationship, both India and China must prioritize dialogue, confidence-building measures, and a commitment to peaceful resolution. Sustained diplomatic engagement is crucial to address the root causes of the border dispute. Both sides need to engage in frank and open discussions, acknowledging each other's concerns and aspirations. Confidence-building measures are essential to reduce the trust deficit and prevent future misunderstandings. This could include establishing better communication channels between military commanders, conducting joint exercises, and increasing transparency in military activities along the border. Beyond the border issue, there are areas of convergence where India and China can cooperate. Section 7. Conclusion. Towards a stable future. The 2020 to 2024 India-China border standoff was a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the dangers of unresolved disputes. While the disengagement agreement is a positive development, it is essential to view it within the broader historical context and the complexities of the relationship. The underlying border dispute remains a challenge, and the potential for future tensions cannot be ignored. The path ahead requires both India and China to demonstrate statesmanship, pragmatism, and a commitment to peaceful resolution. Sustained dialogue, confidence-building measures, and a focus on areas of convergence are essential to build a more stable and predictable relationship. The world is watching closely, hoping that these two Asian giants can find a way to coexist peacefully for their own good and the sake of global stability. The hope is that they will choose the path of dialogue, cooperation, and peaceful resolution, paving the way for a brighter and more secure future for all.